Divine grace, founder of Istana Bhai, Charanadavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Nitya Gauri Vaishnava Vrinda ki Mantra Shrimadbhagavatam ki Their most merciful Lordship Shri Shri Radha ki Shri Jagannath Shri Baladev Maheswara ki Shri Nataji Shri Balagopal ki Shri Gauritai Nitai Gauri. All glories to the Assembly. All glories to the Assembly. All glories to the Assembly. All glories to the Lord Sweet Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. So we do 49, yes?
Today's 49.
Today's 49, okay. We are reading Shrimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, Text 49. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devam Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Dhiraya Nasta Praishu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhagavati Naishtaki. Offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master, who with the torchlight of knowledge has opened my eyes, which were blinded by the darkness of ignorance. By regular attendance in classes on Bhagavatam and by rendering service in pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental song, is established as an irrevocable fact. The reading from Shrimadbhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, Text 41. Pitra Janmato Raja Pitra Janmato Raja Vasudevanamodita Vasudevanamodita Chakara Rajam Dharmena Chakara Rajam Dharmena Pitir Paitamaham Vibhu Pitir Pitamaham Vibhu Pitra Janmato Raja Vasudevanamodita Chakara Rajam Dharmena Pitir Paitamaham Vibhu Pitra Janmato Raja Vasudevanamodita Chakara Rajam Dharmena Pitir Paitamaham Vibhu. Pitra by his uncle Dhritarashtra. Pitra by his uncle Dhritarashtra. Cha and Anumata with his approval. Raja, King Yudhisthira. Vasudeva Numodita, confirmed by Lord Sri Krishna. Chakara, executed. Rajam, the kingdom. Dharmena, in compliance with the codes of royal principles. Pitir, father. Paitamaham, forefather. Vibhu, as great as. Pitra Chanumato Raja Vasudevanamodita Chakara Rajam Dharmena Pitir Paitamaham Vibhu. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace of I Charnananda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. After this, the great religious king, Maharaj Yudhisthira, executed the royal power in the kingdom strictly according to the codes and royal principles approved by his uncle and confirmed by Lord Sri Krishna. Please repeat. After this, the great religious king, Maharaj Yudhisthira, executed the royal power in the kingdom strictly according to the codes and royal principles approved by his uncle and confirmed by Lord Sri Krishna. Pitra Janmato Raja Vasudevanamodita Chakara Rajam Dharmena Pitir Paitamaham Vibhu. After this, the great religious king Maharaj Yudhisthira executed the royal power in the kingdom strictly according to the codes and royal principles approved by his uncle and confirmed by Lord Sri Krishna. purport by His Divine Grace by Charanavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj Yudhisthira was not a mere tax collector. He was always conscious of his duty as a king, which is no less than that of a father or spiritual master. The king is to see the welfare of the citizens from all angles of social, political, economic, and spiritual upliftment. The king must know that human life is meant for liberating the engaged soul from the bondage of material conditions. And therefore his duty is to see that the citizens are properly looked after to attain this highest stage of perfection. Maharaj Yudhisthira followed these principles strictly, as will be seen from the next chapter. Not only did he follow the principles, but he also got approval from his old uncle, who was experienced in political affairs, and that was also confirmed by Lord Krishna, the speaker of philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. Maharaj Yudhisthira is the ideal monarch. And monarchy under a trained king like Maharaj Yudhisthira is by far the most superior form of government, superior to modern republics or governments of the people by the people. The mass of people, especially in this age of Kali, are all born Sudras, basically low-born, ill-trained, unfortunate, and badly associated. They themselves do not know the highest perfectional aim of life. Therefore, votes cast by them actually have no value. And thus persons elected by such irresponsible votes cannot be responsible representatives like Maharaj Yudhisthira. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the first canto, 9th chapter of the Shrimadbhagavatam, entitled The Passing Away of Bhishmadev in the Presence of Lord Krishna. Om Jnanatimarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshusam Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Here we are seeing again the reason Srila Prabhupada was calling these the law books the next 10,000 years. Maharaj Yudhisthira is being revealed, now has gained approval by all the authorities, and specifically by Lord Sri Krishna, to hold his position as Emperor of the world. And pointed out in here as well is that there are no qualified persons in the present governments that are being used to rule the world with now. This is because man has fallen from his understanding of the position God has in creating laws to govern mankind and the purpose for those laws. Laws are not meant to bind us and restrict us from doing what our purpose in life is for, but to give us, as this purport brings out, liberation, to bring us to the stage of liberation. And liberation is not just removal from the effects of birth, death, old age, and disease, which it includes, but it is also in developing the lifestyle, one gains then liberation. So it is the lifestyle that we are looking to apply to our own human lives so as to become the kinds of people that Krishna is wanting us to become. In Shrimadbhagavatam, Canto 7, the chapter being entitled, The Behavior of a Perfect Person, is described exactly that, the behavior of a perfect people. And I'd like to read a few verses from this selection of Bhagavatam because it gives us a really clear idea of what God wants us to come to the stage of being. Those in human society who are intelligent should give up the original cause of lamentation, illusion, fear, anger, attachment, poverty, and unnecessary labor. This is really what the whole society is bound up in right here, unnecessary labor. The original cause of all of these is the desire for unnecessary prestige and money. Text 35. The bee and the python are two excellent spiritual masters who give us exemplary instructions regarding how to be satisfied by collecting only a little, and how to stay in one place and not move. From the bumblebee I have learned to be unattached to accumulating money. For although money is as good as honey, anyone can kill its owner and take it away. I do not endeavor to get anything, but am satisfied with whatever is achieved in its own way. If I do not get anything, I am patient and unagitated like a python, and lie down in this way for many days. Sometimes I eat a very small quantity, and sometimes a great quantity. Sometimes the food is very palatable, and sometimes it is stale. Sometimes prasad is offered with great respect, and sometimes food is given neglectfully. Sometimes I eat during the day, and sometimes at night. Thus I eat what is easily available. To cover my body, I use whatever is available, whether it be linen, silk, cotton, bark, or deerskin, according to my destiny, and I am fully satisfied and unagitated. Sometimes I lie on the surface of the earth, sometimes on leaves, grass, or stone, sometimes on a pile of ashes, or sometimes by the will of others in a palace on a first-class bed with pillows. Oh, my Lord, sometimes I bathe myself very nicely, smear sandalwood pulp all over my body, put a flower garland on, and dress in finer garments and ornaments. Then travel like a king on the back of an elephant, or on a chariot or horse. Sometimes, however, I travel naked like a person haunted by a ghost. Different people are of different mentalities. Therefore, it is not my business either to praise them or to blaspheme them. I only desire their welfare, hoping that they will agree to become one with the Supersoul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. The mental concoction of discrimination between good and bad should be accepted as one unit, and then invested in the mind, which should be invested in the false ego. The false ego should be invested in the total material energy. This is the process of fighting false discrimination. A learned, thoughtful person must realize that material existence is illusion. This is possible only by self-realization. A self-realized person who has actually seen the truth should retire from all material activities, being situated in self-realization. Prahlad Maharaj, you are certainly a self-realized soul and a devotee of the Supreme Lord. You do not care for public opinion or so-called scriptures. For this reason, I have described to you without hesitation the history of my self-realization. So this is Narada Muni treating Prahlad as his disciple and revealing to him the perspective we have on all the things in this material world, no value to anything in this world other than how it can be used and engaged in Krishna's service. Narad Muni continued, after Prahlad Maharaj, the king of the demons, heard these instructions from the saint, he understood the occupational duties of a perfect person, Paramahamsa. Thus he duly worshipped the saint, took his permission, and left for his own home. The next chapter is entitled Ideal Family Life. So, Narad Muni is not a grihastha. He's not a married man. This chapter describes the occupational duties of the householder according to the time, the country, and the performer. When Yudhisthira Maharaj became very much inquisitive about the occupational duties for the householder, Narad Muni advised him that a grihastha's first duty is to be fully dependent on Vasudeva, Krishna, and to try to satisfy him in all respects by executing one's prescribed devotional service. This devotional service will depend on the instructions of authorities. And the association of devotees who are actually engaged in devotional service. The beginning of devotional service is Shravanam, or hearing. One must hear from the mouths of realized souls. In this way, the grihastha's attraction to his wife and children will gradually be reduced. So as we can see here, there are prescribed duties that we have. So most paths, apart from those who have within them formed cults or groups of people that are trying to adhere strictly to their precepts, for the most part, most paths are leaving people to figure the path out for themselves. You've got to determine what their purpose in life is, what their profession is, what they want to do with life, all these kinds of things. But as we see here, duties are prescribed. They're not figured out by someone. What am I going to do to go back to God? No, God gives us prescribed duties as medicine, basically. Because all those activities we engage in, thinking ourselves to be bettering ourselves off in this material world, trying to gain some favorable situation in this material world, is not going to provide the same result as is being described here, living a life of renunciation, with everything in this world being considered secondary to the one goal and purpose of the devotee, and that is to serve and please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everything else we put in the place of that, above and beyond what we need to do in our lives, then just becomes nonsense and a hindrance, actually. And so this is why our minds are troubled when we chant, because our exposure to the material energy has been for so long, millions and millions of lifetimes that we have been in this material universe, accustomizing ourselves with the conditioning, exposing ourselves to the energy with the hope of being able to gain some pleasure from it, and thereby being forced to experience the result of that endeavor. And that's what we're getting the result of now, troubling our minds when we're chanting, and our minds are having thoughts enter into it other than that which is eternally beneficial. And this is all of our involvement with the material energy. So it's not that we can't have and use. Srila Prabhupada said utility is the principle. We use everything in Krishna service. And that is the way that everything can thereby be beneficial for our continuance of our existence here. Because that which is used in Krishna service then also becomes of a beneficial nature. As we learn by applying the precepts and responsibilities and the prescriptions being given to us by the authorities, we don't see anything as our own. You serve on the altar, you blow a conch. I wanted to mention to you about blowing the conch, because I noticed you're having some very high notes being used.
No notes,
Yeah.
no sound.
When you press your lips very closely, it makes the notes higher. So if you open your mouth a little wider, then the air will flow a little more fluent and it won't be as high. I've been wanting to tell you that for some time, and I never get a chance, so finally here we are, class, and you're here. But see, it's not my conch. It's not Raj's conch. It's not anybody else's conch that goes on there. Whereas, if you're taking it upon yourself, and you've got to go get all these things, then it becomes a burden, you could say. See, when people are taking things upon themselves which are not being prescribed, they can do that unknowingly of their own capabilities, their own abilities. And so, of course, we know better than anybody else what our own capabilities are. But people, especially with the false ego, and especially in the beginning primary years of developing Krishna consciousness, we have to approach the service itself as something that we don't yet know to do. When I came here, I had been an electrician for years and years. When I came to Krishna consciousness, and I found by trying to apply the same knowledge I had adapted to when I was taking on a material career, my knowledge didn't work the same in Krishna consciousness. I couldn't just jump in and do whatever I wanted to do, even though I was trying by using the same knowledge I had before. But when I surrendered to the devotees, to the will of the devotees, and was given responsibilities, everything worked smoothly. I helped Keelananda Prabhu put in the motor that turns that big stage in the diorama area. But before that, when I was doing work around in the garden like that, I was trying to apply myself to things that I was more accustomed to, thinking that that was what would allow me to do the best I could in Krishna consciousness. That's not necessarily what Krishna's plan is for us. Because what we do, we plan our lives, and then we run into Krishna. And he's got a plan for us that's better than our own plan. And as long as we figure for ourselves that we've got a better plan than Krishna does, then we'll have to settle for that which we ourselves can provide for ourselves. Whereas, when we surrender to the institution of ISKCON, when we surrender to the appointed authorities that Krishna has put into their place, then we can take good counsel, good guidance from those who have our best interests in their hearts. And Krishna puts it there, because devotees gain positions by their love for Krishna and their ability to communicate with devotees in the positions they're being put in. Actually, Krishna consciousness activities we're instructed in a previous chapter about the responsibilities of the disciple to the guru. So this form of surrender now that the devotee takes upon himself for the purpose of the guru, this totally breaks the false ego. Because now you can't make claim, oh, I did this, I did that, this was my idea, that was my idea, and look how great I am in this thing and that. Krishna consciousness is not working like that. And so this is the difference between surrendering to the supreme powers that be, which enables us to gain access to everything that is available by the institution. Whereas, here, we're offering pure silver. This arctic paraphernalia we're offering is pure silver. We had to go out and buy that on our own. It would make it a very difficult task. But everything has been established in the movement so that automatically, by surrendering, then devotees can prescribe for us those activities that we don't have to make an extreme endeavor to try and produce on our own. That we can do by surrendering. Krishna gives us bigger facility than we can find out on our own. So the same way Narad Muni, from the beginning, it has been his purpose to serve Krishna as Brahma, as his father. And so we see the establishment of Krishna consciousness by the parampara brings the firstborn of the universe into the universe, while in his body is the seed of every living entity that will in the future come into existence. So we have been together for a long, long time, all of us, even all those that we haven't even met this time around in the world, those we are sharing this planet with, we have shared experiences with lifetimes, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Removing ourselves from the modes of material energy by the chanting sets us free now from the effects of that energy that we would ordinarily be having to suffer the results of. So when we surrender our own free will to Krishna, then we gain, as this one verse was pointing out, becoming one with Super Soul. It's not thinking that we are God, but we are fulfilling the same purpose that he wants us to fulfill. And in doing that, then, we are allowing Super Soul to work through us and to speak those things necessary for every soul that we come in contact with to be able to experience Super Soul also. So the knowledge that we gain by chanting is common to all souls who will chant and connect with the Supreme Person, because the goal is the same. If false ego, as it is now, is allowed to rule in people's hearts as it is now, we will see the end result as chaos, confusion, anger, frustration, people not happy with each other, people creating enemies of one another. Whereas, if we surrender to the supreme will of the Lord, which is one purpose, Krishna has one purpose in mind for all of us to engage in, one spiritual activity that can be categorized as that which is of a spiritual nature. which as a whole contributes to the same cause. Whereas if we are all working for our own individual purposes, there's no way we are going to all line up as one power, one force in the world. And this is the difference between the kind of government that is being revealed here by the surrender of Yudhisthira Maharaj to Krishna and to the orders established previously by the Parampara, by the Vedic literatures. This is what will make the world a united force and allow the practitioners of spiritual activities throughout the world to be able to know the experience of being under the protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, being led and guided, the whole of society, every single nation in the world governed by the same controlling, all-powerful force of divine love. Divine love. There's no reason God had to take it upon himself to deliver us from that place we've chosen to come to by desire to be separate from God. We've chosen to come here. We've come here by choice without realizing we made that choice. But every day, every choice we make in our everyday activities is a choice that will be the determining factor of what our next set of circumstances are beyond this life. So right now, the choices we are making will determine the same way the choices we made previously are now the determining factor of what we are experiencing in the present. So this is why Veda, the truth of the Veda and Bhagavatam, is giving us such understanding to be able to foresee and act with the knowledge of that foresight in ways that will prevent us from having to suffer the same kinds of suffering we're going through, we have been forced to go through in this life. It would be nice if as a congregation, every Sunday, somehow we could make an arrangement before 4:15 happens. All of us as a congregation go do something together. Chanting, especially this chanting. But I don't know if I'll ever see that happen. It would be nice. Go to some park somewhere. Doesn't necessarily have to be for Rath Yatra, but for the sake of chanting. Yeah. Because this chanting is the ideal activity that Krishna has said is that we will experience the highest forms of pleasure in doing. And if we could all do that together with each other. We do it in here, in the temple, and it's ecstatic, yes. But the outreach to the world is the purpose of the devotee's life. We are now not living for ourselves anymore. That's the meaning of the false ego of being broken. We're not living for ourselves. We're living for the purpose of the Veda. We're living for the purpose of the Supersoul. We're living for the purpose of Krishna, the Supreme Person who controls the universe. It is his purpose we're living to fulfill now, not our purpose. Now, if we can purify our desires and make that be our desire to fulfill the purpose of the Supreme, then we are brought in line. This is the meaning of being born again, or being born spiritually, or being twice born. is that we are no longer living for ourselves, but the eternal life we are being given is that of a completely different nature. That transcends and goes beyond the ability we would otherwise have to be forced to live under the restrictions of. Now we have been, our fetters have been loosed. Now we are free moral agents, not having to suffer from the effects of birth, death, old age, and disease, or any other karmic reactions. This is something to take pleasure in, to take and really rejoice about. Because while we are capable human beings to pursue our desires to fulfill God's will with these capable physical bodies that we have, there are presently now many people suffering without the ability to perform the kinds of activities that we have the freedom to do. And if we can, in that freedom, liberate other souls to as well, give them that experience of liberation, that experience of what it means to be free from the control of the modes of material energy, to be able to make our own decisions clearly, without being forced. People make decisions based on their monetary abilities, their capacities monetarily. Devotees are not restricted by that. Why? Because they're working together. So whatever they may have been able to do individually, now with a combined effort of 10, 15, 20, 30 devotees all making efforts working towards the goal of providing truth to those who need the truth the most, those who do not have the truth. And there are so many out there propagating the ideas of mistruths, believing they are truths. And that is the most dangerous. Because as long as people are clinging on to that which they believe to be true, which is not, will force them at one point in their existence then to wake up to the fact that what they have been believing is not absolute truth. Absolute truth is only that truth that we have that will last everlastingly. And that which we cling to that is pertaining to the things of this world only is but temporary. And it is temporarily obstructing us from being able to see the eternal vision Krishna wants us to be aware of. Krishna is the best friend of every single soul in this whole planet. But those who make him out to be their enemies do so unknowingly, because he's the one who has our best interest in mind. Krishna is the one who knows every single soul's capacity, ability, desire, strengths, weaknesses. And every experience they've had, he's gone through them with it. Through it with them. Gone through it with them. So this is the completeness of Krishna. Is when you connect with Krishna, you're connecting with the life force of every soul that is experiencing life. We're a part of that one life. And in this way, life is one. Truth, life, the substance of reality, and the eternalness of its nature is what we need to pursue Krishna consciousness to be able to experience the reality of that which is eternal. which we can do by this chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If we look forward with great anticipation to this chanting, every part of our day that we get to be able to do it, and we can know greater than food for the body, this chanting is for the soul. But we don't look at it like that. We don't get hungry to chant. Maybe we do. Maybe we can. But the thing about chanting is, the more we do it, the more we will come to like the result it produces. Because it is the sole means of experiencing what the Dharma is for this age, which people don't even know the meaning of. Why you were born. That's what the question in a person approaching college. Why was I put here? So now what do I have to do to fulfill my purpose in being here? Right? And this is what a devotee is doing every day. This eternal Dharma is that which you were brought into this world to be able to take part in. All the souls who are being brought into being exposed to Krishna consciousness are being given that as an opportunity to experience Dharma, to experience the completeness of the protection of the almighty, all-loving, all-powerful person, Krishna. Wow, what a friend. When muscles cramp up and tickle. Oh, good. Sorry. I don't know what causes it. I think it's a mineral deficiency.
Yeah, maybe can I get some water?
No, it's not. Well, probably water shortage too, but boy, when the muscles lock up, well, I tell you, I can't even get out of them. It happens at night sometimes.
Do you take potassium at all?
I am. I'm taking them all tired. But I take them, and I should take them every day. I took one yesterday, which I haven't taken for about a month now. That's my problem. Involuntary. That's a part of the system. Nervous system has what's called involuntary.
Yes.
So that's what karma is. When we get reactions from karma, it's involuntary. We don't want it to happen, right? But it just, boom, it happens automatically, and you can't do nothing. What are you going to do? We have chanting. So we do have. See, there are some problems to the physical body that it looks as though there is no correction to in some cases. Born blind, what are you going to do? You have to have supernatural powers for it to be able to be overcome. So, what overcomes all these physical weaknesses that we have is the spiritual truth that we have in Krishna consciousness. So, as powerful as it would seem to be overpowering us, the physical body itself being put through the extreme circumstances we're being forced to live under because of previous sin, of previous civilizations that we were also part of as well. When the earth is returned to its original state, I don't know if it'll go back to its complete original state, but as it's being moved, the environment also will change. And the environment can have a big impact as well on our functions, our abilities to function. And we're being taught that by the chanting of Krishna's names, even the weather is controlled. And We don't go out and chant for that purpose, but it happens automatically. So when we go out and chant, it's just like this thing that kind of like freezes your muscles when you get put in a position. Automatically the rains will come without having to worry about it. When there's long periods of drought, sometimes places go for years without rain. People become afraid and they pray for rain. But Krishna brings it automatically to the devotees that are engaged in chanting. So all the things that we think we have the responsibility of providing for ourselves in our life, we have to do this, we have to buy this thing, all these things in Krishna consciousness are automatically provided for that we need to find divine love, absolute love. And it's really absolute love, the only thing that we need to perform the functions of humanity, the functions of life. And to know that it's available at every moment. And as we progress spiritually, it's happening automatically. As long as we continue to engage in these spiritual activities, our development will happen automatically. When people seek outside, they get married, then they have arguments. And then they think they reason together. We better go see some counseling. Let's go talk to somebody who knows the kind of problems we're going through. But see, with a devotee, the counselor is Krishna. If they both spend time chanting together, then they will experience a presence that Krishna can give the guidance by. But that doesn't mean we don't seek help. It's the surrender to Krishna that is a big statement saying, I need help. I can't do it on my own. And so it is in this state of helplessness that we can experience the greatest strength that Krishna is. So in our weakness, he is strong. So it seems like a paradox that to become weak is to find strength. But that's like being in the middle of a war. You could find love in the middle of a war. And if love is the purpose behind everything we do in life, then automatically at the end of this life we'll go back to love. Krishna is love. Krishna, the substance of Krishna's body, the substance of his thought, the substance of his being, it's all love. It's all love. Every act he's made, every act he's done. Can't change. He doesn't change his own nature. It's all done in love. And so this is what we're being instructed, to come to the platform of loving devotional service. And as we see in Bhagavad Gita, this is what pleases Krishna the most, loving devotional service. Doing those activities through the day that Krishna has revealed is of a spiritual nature, with a heart towards it, realizing there's nothing better that we can be given to do. You're being given the most effective, the most satisfying, the most fulfilling, the most important activities a human being can engage in. And so just with all your heart, apply yourself to just doing that you know to do now in Krishna consciousness for the rest of your life. And your life will be sublime. And you will be more happy than you could be doing anything else. That's the way it is. That's the truth of Krishna consciousness. Do it. Do it. God. Any comments, any questions, any realizations? Anyone like to share something? Something to be Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare, and your life will be sublime. Haribol. Shrimadbhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada